Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां रामो राजमणिः सदा विजयते रामं रमेशं भजे रामेणाभिहता निशाचरचमु रामाय तस्मै नमः रामान्नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्म्यहं रामे चित्तलयः सदा भवतु मे भो राम मामुद्धर समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः 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 ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः. We'll chant the first three mantras. ॐ ब्रह्मादेवानां प्रथमः सम्बभूव विश्वस्य कर्ता भुवनस्य गोप्ता स ब्रह्म विद्यां सर्वविद्याप्रतिष्ठाम् अथर्वाय ज्येष्ठपुत्राय प्राह अथर्वणीयां प्रवदेत ब्रह्मा अथर्वातां पुरोवाचाङ्गिरे ब्रह्मविद्यां स भारद्वाजाय सत्यवहाय प्राह भारद्वाजो अङ्गिरसे परावरां शौनको ह वै महाशालः अङ्गिरसं विधिवदुपसन्नः पप्रच्छ कस्मिन्नु भगवो विज्ञाते सर्वमिदं विज्ञातं भवतीति. After having shown the Guru Parampara and praising Brahma Vidya, Shaunak Maharshi, he is asking his question to Angira Rishi. Reflecting upon his question itself is something which will give us a lot of insight into what are we seeking in Advaita Vedanta. The question he had asked was, Kasminnu bhagavo vijñate sarvamidam vijñatam bhavati iti. What is that knowing which everything becomes known? What is that thing knowing which everything becomes known? That knowledge I am seeking. Now, if you try to simplify his question, Just take this world, for example. There are so many things we are seeing here, right? Bird is there, trees are there, mountains are there, rocks are there, planets are there. So many big and small things we see. If somebody asks us, what is the cause of that thing? In general, our mind will go only to the most immediate cause. If somebody says, what is the cause of bird? Answer will be, it came from the egg, so that egg was the cause of bird. What is the cause of tree? A seed is the cause of tree. What is the cause of rock? Is a mountain is the cause of rock. It came from there. It is not something new. It just cut off from that mountain. That is how this rock was formed. Planets, what is the cause? Somebody might say Big Bang. Something happened because of which all the fragments went away. Now they are as planets. The point is, how many causes have you ended up with? As many effects, that many causes. Shaunak Maharshi has understood that although effects are many, if you say there is one truth, that truth has to be only one. And that truth has to be the cause of all effects. If you don't include this point, what will happen is that cause will become another effect. If you say there is this truth, it is the cause of certain things, not of everything. That means it will also be one part of this creation, just like a seed, just like the egg, and so on. So this point, Shaunak Maharshi has heard in Satsang, that they were constantly saying there is one cause from which this whole universe has emerged. Devotion, it is called as Bhagavan. In Vedanta, it is called as Brahma. Now he's asking, I want specific knowledge, detailed knowledge of that Brahma. And this question will come to that person whose mind is not having too much of anxiety. Mind which is available to think about certain things, Vedanta topics, that mind will get this question. The way we should understand it is, even if we did not get that question directly, whenever we hear this question, we should have the ability to make this as our question. Is there one truth knowing which all my pursuits in life will find fulfillment? That is the cause. Everything else is the effect. If I stay only at the effect level, then I have missed out on something great in life. This is one way to look at it. Kasminnu bhago vijñāte sarvamidam vijñātam bhavati. If we focus only on effects, we will at the most reach some immediate cause. But if you say there is something called as truth, that truth is not cause of only one or two things. It is a substratum of all effects. Now another point, just to think. If this particular question was asked to Ramana Maharshi ji, Kasminnu bhago vijñāte sarvamidam vijñātam bhavati iti, what would be Bhagavan's answer? Based on Saddarshanam. Based on Saddarshanam. There were many verses which said, before you focus on Sarvam, inquire, holding on to what this Sarvam rises. Before you say Sarvam Jagat, when is this Sarvam understood, or when is this Sarvam recognized? You would say only when Ahankara is awake, this world as Sarvam is recognized. So it says this Aham and Sarvam, they go together. Or you can say aham and idam. Ahankara and whatever is idam, they go together. So Ramana Maharshi says, don't worry about sarvam. How many things will you know like that? He says, just inquire into nature of aham. Whenever that aham is understood as an appearance in consciousness, he says everything becomes known in that sense. Ramana Maharshi says everything becomes irrelevant. But we can mellow it down and say everything becomes known as adhyastha. It is known as superimposition when ahankara is understood as a superimposition. Shabdadi rupam bhuvanam samastam. Shabdadi satta indriya vritti bhasya. This is what this world that we call as Jagat. Don't look at them as Nama Rupa, look at them as five elements. And the corresponding guna of that five element through which we are perceiving this world. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. All of them are known only when sense organs are there. Sense organs are known when mind is there. This is inquire, where is this mind appearing? Mind and ahankara, they are together, and that ahankara is emerging in consciousness. Therefore, this whole universe is emerging in consciousness. It emerges, it appears, it dissolves in that same Chaitanya. That is one way to look at this question from Saddarshanam standpoint. What is Ramana Maharshi? What he has pointed us to at that, what he has pointed us to in that text, trying to connect it with the question of what is Shaunak Maharshi asking over here. His interest is not in sarvam, his interest is not in idam, interest is in that tattva, which is the substratum of everything. You know, there was one question last time. Here it is said, consciousness is cause and everything is effect. Its answer will be told in this way, that there is one truth, which is the cause, and everything has emerged from that consciousness. But when we study later part, or if you study some Upanishad like Mandukya Upanishad, there this Karya Karana will be refuted. They will say there is no cause effect happening between consciousness and world. Then the question becomes, then why are they pointing it out as Karya Karana then? Why is it pointed out as Karya Karana first and then they are refuting it? It is pointed out as Karya Karana so that our attention can shift on Karana. Because initially the attention is only on Karya, only on the effects. To shift attention on Karana, this sambandha, relationship is pointed out. Means I am paying attention only to snake, illusory snake, to help me shift attention to rope. It is said rope is the cause, snake is the effect. But what will be the final understanding? Between snake and rope, or between rope and snake, there is no Karya Karana. It is not that rope is Karana and the illusory snake is Karya. There is no sambandha between both of them. But can I be told that teaching right at the beginning? He says no. Because in the beginning, my attention is only on Karya, only on the snake. If Karya Karana Bhava is not pointed out, then attention will not shift on Karana. Superimposing Karya Karana Bhava on the truth is called as Adhyaropa. That which is not there, something is superimposed so that our attention shifts to the truth. And to establish this point that there is no karya karana bhava, rather you don't need to establish. Once you have shifted attention to the truth, understood nature of truth, from that standpoint, the natural understanding is there is no karya karana bhava, no cause effect sambandha with anything. Let's take that same example. If somebody understands rope thoroughly, do we have to give logic to explain to that person that there is no cause effect relationship between the rope and snake? No, once you understand rope, natural result of that understanding is we know there is nothing called as snake. Now, whenever the truth is pointed out with any conditioning, whenever the truth is pointed out with any conditioning, that is part of adhyaropa. So this question we had discussed in Bhagavad Gita class, 12th chapter. How do we shift attention to drashta? Taking support of drishya. There is drashta and there is drishya. When some sambandha is pointed out between drashta and drishya. Drashta is seer or sakshi. Drishya is whatever is seen as thoughts. But really speaking, there is no sambandha. There is no relationship between drashta and drishya. But because my attention is only on thought, this sambandha is pointed out. That there is drashta and there is drishya. But once attention is shifted on drashta, I say the understanding is there is no sambandha between consciousness and thoughts. The entire Srishti Prakriya, all of that is to lead us to this point. How that one consciousness got reflected. In that reflection, there was antakarana. In that antakarana, mana buddhi chitta hankara. All of that is so that through the reflection, we can shift attention to original. And from original standpoint, understand other than this Advaita, there is nothing else which is existing. More we are familiar with this thought process now, it will get easier when other Upanishads come, which are more focused on apavada. Saddarshanam was one text like that, heavily focused on negation. Mandukya Upanishad will be similar, where heavy emphasis is on negation part. Okay. Where did this topic come from? Karya Karana Bhava. The question is there one cause of this whole universe, knowing which everything becomes known? Karya Karana Bhava is the first step, but later on the same Upanishad will refute it. Apavada also will be done, where it says there is only this truth. Other than this truth, nothing exists independently. Okay. Now, before talking about the truth, before talking about Para Vidya, Apara Vidya is introduced. Apara Vidya is introduced. And in the fourth mantra, the Upanishad Rishi says, there are two types of knowledge which are worthy of being known. One is called as Paravidya, another is called as Aparavidya. You see what he's saying, fourth mantra. Tasmai saho vacha. Tasmai saho vacha. Dve vidye veditavye itiha. Dve vidye veditavye itihasma. Yad brahmavido vadanti. Yad brahmavido vadanti. Parachaiva paracha. Parachaiva paracha. Tasmai saha uvacha. Sahaha Uvacha. To Shaunaka Maharshi, our Angira Rishi, he gave this answer. Very conclusively, he said, Dve Vidye Veditavye Itihasma. Dve means two, Vidya means two types of knowledge. Veditavye. Veditavya means it is worthy of knowing. It is worthwhile knowing these two types of knowledge. What does this word indicate? Upanishad is not criticizing Apara Vidya. If it was not even worthy of being known, Veditavya word will not be used. All it is saying is, Apara Vidya is incapable of giving us samsara nivrutti. It is incapable of removing samsara. For that purpose, Apara Vidya is not helpful. If I want something in this world, the way I will get it is through Apara Vidya only. So we should not blindly criticize Apara Vidya. It will look very impractical. That word Veditavya indicates that. Dve Vidye Veditavye Itihasma. Who says this? That these two types of knowledge are worthy to be known. Yad Brahmavidaha Vadanti. The knowers of Brahma, knowers of Veda, those who know Paramartha Tattva, they say both these knowledge are worthwhile and they are worthy of being known. Yad Brahmavido Vadanti. What are these two types of knowledge? Paracha eva aparacha. One is called as Paravidya. Paravidya means higher knowledge or knowledge of the self. And second one is Aparavidya. Aparavidya. Now, Aparavidya means knowledge of this world in simple words. But Shankaracharya ji gives a precise meaning. Whatever includes dharma, adharma. Whatever includes dharma, adharma. The means of doing that karma, the means of doing that karma, which is called as sadhana, and the result of doing that karma, phalam. Whatever elaborates dharma, adharma, its sadhana, and its phalam, that is called as Aparavidya. Now, Aparavidya, what is listed in the next mantra is all traditional things. Vedangas are listed, Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakarana. But what about other Vidya that we are learning? Knowledge of computer, knowledge of engineering, medicine, music. So all of that is included in Apara Vidya. Veditavya, it is worthwhile, worthy of being known. Now, if you take engineering, for example, how will you fit this definition, dharma, adharma, sadhana and phalam? Sadhana we can understand. Engineering will talk about the means to attain that knowledge. Phalam also we can understand. It will talk about what is the result of doing this, what is the result of this particular knowledge. But any knowledge we gain, it is said we can use it for dharma or we can use it for adharma. Knowledge by itself will not tell us. Knowledge by itself will not tell whether it is dharma or adharma. There is some vidya which will give this guidance. Some shastra will be there separate from that knowledge which will tell us how to use it for dharma and what is adharma. So much of chaos goes in this universe. A lot of it is technology in the wrong hands. Apara Vidya is there. But that Vidya by itself, that particular branch of knowledge by itself, will not give direction on dharma and adharma. So here when it is said Apara Vidya, that knowledge which includes perspectives on dharma, adharma, it's sadhana and its phalam. What they now call as ethical knowledge. Knowledge which is used in an ethical way. Dharma, sadhana, and phalam, that is called as Apara Vidya. Simple definition of Apara Vidya is knowledge of worldly things, that is called as Apara Vidya. Now somebody might ask, if this Apara Vidya is not going to do samsara nivritti, if this Apara Vidya, knowledge of the world, is not going to give us liberation, not going to remove samsara, why should one even learn it? What is the point in pursuing Apara Vidya? If you look at Arjuna's question in 3rd chapter, you will find echo of this point. For Arjuna, what is Apara Vidya? Warfare. Apara Vidya, don't limit it only to Vyakaranam. Anything other than Brahma Vidya about this world is called as Apara Vidya. So for him, Apara Vidya is warfare. First question he asked to Bhagavan Krishna in 3rd chapter is, if you say Brahma Vidya is supreme, which will lead me to moksha, why are you pushing me in Apara Vidya, which is this warfare? Jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana. Tatkim karmani ghore mam. Niyojayasi Keshava. On one hand, you say Brahma Vidya is that thing which will lead you to liberation. But your advice to me is engage in Apara Vidya. And how does Bhagavan answer it? He says, Arjuna, this Apara Vidya which is there, it is the only way we will get Sadhana Chatushtaya. Before coming to Brahma Vidya, all my Sadhana Chatushtaya will get tested, will grow through Apara Vidya only. While doing that, having the right spirit of Karma Yoga, having the right spirit of dedication of those actions to Bhagavan, he says through that, we will get this mindset by which we are ready for study of Paravidya. And if you look at the Apara Vidya which is mentioned in the next verse, those who composed text on those Apara Vidyas were all rishis. Vyakaranam is part of Apara Vidya. But the one who composed text on Vyakaranam is Panini Maharshi. And in study of Vyakaranam, lot of Sadhana Chatushtaya will get. Those who are coming to Sanskritam class will agree. To study a language, you need lot of discipline, lot of self-effort. Mind has to be in one place. For them, that was their Apara Vidya. Somebody who is studying Vyakaranam, their qualities are developed through that knowledge. Bhagavan has given us different Apara Vidyas. He says, in and through that, we have to increase our adhikara. So that is one point. Sadhana Chatushtaya will come through Apara Vidya. And if you look at their life, those who came up with all these texts, such a disciplined life. So even if somebody has to follow Apara Vidya sincerely, he says it will bring a lot of discipline in their life. The biggest blessing which will happen is our mind should be turned away from Vishayas. This Apara Vidya which is discussed, it is not some kind of indulgent person. If that was the case, Veditavya word will not even come. Dve Vidya Veditavya, they will not even say such kind of knowledge should be gained if it was some material thing. Some Rajasic or Tamasic thing, they will not even include it in Apara Vidya. Forbidden things, Nishiddha Vishaya, will not be included. This is talking about somebody who has a very, very sharp intellect, calm mind, as far as worldly Vishayas are concerned. Sattvic worldly Vishayas are concerned. Okay? So that includes all knowledge. Medicine also will fall there. Engineering will fall there. All arts will fall there. form of arts. So that is one thing about Apara Vidya. Because it doesn't lead to liberation, doesn't mean it doesn't have a role. The role of Apara Vidya is to prepare the mind for Paravidya. Now in Bhashya, there is one Puropaksha raised. The student says, I don't get it. All these teachers, they are asked one question, and the way they answer is totally different from what was asked. This is what did Shaunak Maharshi ask? Kasminnu bhago vijñate sarvamidam vijñatam bhavati. What is it knowing which everything becomes known? Teacher should have said, knowing this, everything becomes known. What is he starting with? There are two types of knowledge. One is called as Paravidya, another is called as Aparavidya. So he's answering a question which was not asked. This is the Puropaksha. He's beating around the bush, answering a question which was not asked. Shankaracharya says, no, that is not the case. Because when you answer a question, there is a sequence in which you should answer. There is a krama by which you should answer, where first the opponent's view is pointed out. The Puropaksha's view, the opponent's view is pointed out so that we can contrast it with Siddhanti's view. We can contrast it with what is the main point that the Siddhanti wants to make. For example, in Katopanishad, Nachiketa asks a question, there is a doubt. Yeyam loke vichikitsa manushye astityeke nayam astiti chaike. This is in this world, some people say there is something beyond this body. Some say there is nothing beyond this body. What is the truth? And what did Yamacharya start in second Valli talking about? Shreya and Preya. He says, what you asked is Shreya, but before I can give you teaching of Shreya, understand what is Preya. What I should not seek as goal of life, that I should understand first. And then when Shreya is pointed out, I can contrast it with Preya. That's why understanding the precise meaning of Preya becomes very important. Seeking solace in conducive situations is Preya. Seeking support, seeking solace in self-abidance is Shreya. This is first when you understand Preya, we can understand Shreya better. So here also, when we understand Apara Vidya, then it will be pointed out this Apara Vidya is incapable of removing samsara. This Apara Vidya is incapable of removing samsara. Only Paravidya will remove samsara. So in that way, the contrast is pointed out. We had seen example in, like in Adhyasa Bhashya, when Bhagwan is explaining about nature of Advaita. First he explains what is Adhyasa, according to different school of thoughts. So Mahatmas, they have coined a very short sentence for this. ब्रह्म को समझने से पहले भ्रम को समझना जरूरी है. Before we understand Brahma, we have to understand what is Brahma. Brahma means what is erroneous notion. Otherwise, holding on to that erroneous notion, I might think I am knowing about Brahma. So erroneous notion is I am this ahankara. So first we have to understand how this adhyasa happens with ahankara and how we take it for granted that I am this person. And whole life goes about thinking that I am this ahankara. Only when this Brahma is understood, we know what we are trying to remove, what we are trying to correct. This is then we can understand what is nature of Brahma and how it has to be owned up. Okay, so this point is also in Bhashya. He says, why did the teacher start answering in this way? there are two types of knowledge. He says first you need to know what is Apara Vidya, then Para Vidya will be clear. Last point in Bhashya is Bhagwan makes a very bold statement. We need lot of maturity to digest this. He says Apara Vidya is Avidya. Apara Vidya is Avidya. What will be called as Apara Vidya? He says that is nothing but Avidya. So how will you understand this statement? Vishaya of Apara Vidya. The subject matter of Apara Vidya is Mithya Vastu. It is something of this world which Advaita Vedanta will finally prove that it is just an appearance. So regarding an appearance, whatever knowledge we get, he says that knowledge will be erroneous knowledge only. It is within the realm of Avidya because the Vishaya of Apara Vidya is Mithya Vastu. About that illusory snake, I understand whatever I want to understand. The texture of that snake, the family to which that snake belongs, whether it is venomous or not. What will we say after knowing the rope? Whatever knowledge I got of that snake was Avidya only. Why do we say that? Because it is Mithya. It was not even there to begin with. I thought it was there and I got to know so many things about it. In the same way, Vishaya of Aparavidya is Mithya Vastu. That is why he says it is Avidya only. This is where Raman Maharshiji's Saddarshanam will help us. What did Bhagwan say? Bhagwan said, without understanding falsity of Ahankar, taking Ahankara as real, whatever knowledge we get in this world, he says everything is erroneous knowledge. Taking Ahankara to be real, whatever knowledge we get in this world, he says that knowledge is erroneous knowledge. Which verse was it? Two verses were there. This verse is more closer. Bodharamatmanam ajanato yah bodhasya kim syat paramartha bodha bodharam atmanam ajanata. Without knowing the self, bodhasya kim syat paramartha bodha. Whatever knowledge we are getting of this world, can we call it as paramartha bodha? Bodhasya bodhyasya cha samshayam swam vijanatastadvitayam vinashet. By understanding the substratum of knowledge and the knower, and the Vishaya also, whatever is being known, understanding that everything is the same consciousness, it says all these things dissolve in that consciousness. Vijanatah tadvitayam vinashyet. Bodha and Bodhya. The knowledge and the known both dissolve in consciousness. When you inquire about nature of knower. How many things are there? Three things. Knower is there, knowledge is there, and the object which is known is there. As far as Apara Vidya is concerned, the known Vastu is something of this world, and knowledge is taking place of that object. What he says, without inquiring into nature of knower. If I know several things in this world, you cannot call it as Paramartha Bodha. Shankaracharya here says, we call it as Avidya. But when I inquire into nature of knower and understand this Ahankara is nothing but Shuddha Chaitanya, that snake is nothing but rope. There is no separate entity called as snake. Like that, there is no separate entity called as Ahankara. He says this knowledge and the object of knowledge, Bodha and Bodhya, both dissolve in that consciousness. Dvitayam is said, right? Two things is said. So what are those two things? Knowledge and the known. Bodha and bodhya. Bodhasya bodhyasya cha samshrayam swam. Bodha and bodhya both are rooted in the same Atma. How did he come to this point? He inquired into ahankara. Through that ahankara, he understood I am the self, not this ahankara. Okay, in simple words, when he inquired into the truth, all triads dissolved. Therefore, he says Apara Vidya is Avidya. Apara Vidya is Avidya. But other part also we should appreciate. The only way we are going to get Sadhana Chatushtaya is through Apara Vidya. Now let us see the Bhashya, fourth mantra. Tasmai Shaunakaya Angira Ha Kila Uvacha Kim iti uchyate Dve vidye Veditavye iti Evam hasma Kila Yad Brahmavido Vedartha Abhijñāः Paramarthadarshinaः Vadanti Ke iti aha Paracha Paramatma Vidya Aparacha Dharma Adharma Sadhana Tatphala Vishaya Nanu Kasmin Vidite Sarvavid Bhavatiti Shaunakena Prushtam Tasmin Vaktavye Aprushtam Aha Angira Dve Vidye Ityadi Naisha Doshah Krama Apekshatvat Krama Apekshatvat Prativachanasya Aparahi Vidya Avidya Sa Nirakartavya Tadvishayehi Vidite Na Kinchit Tatvatah Viditam Syat iti Viditam Syat iti Nirakritya Hi Purvapaksham Paschat Siddhantah Vaktavyah Bhavatiti Nyayat. I think even if you read now, whole Bhashya is clear. Right? Same points we have seen. Tasmai Shaunakaya Angiraha Kila Uvacha. Tasmai, to him, who Shaunakaya, to Shaunaka, Angira Rishi gave this teaching. Kila Uvacha. Kimiti Uchate. What did he give? What did he say to Shaunaka Maharshi? Dve Vidye Veditavye iti. There are two types of knowledge which are worthy of being known. Evam hasma kila yat brahmavidah vedartah abhijñāः paramartha darshinah vadanti. Who says this? This is yat brahmavidah. Who are brahmavidah? Vedartha abhijñāः. Those who know the essence of Vedas. Those who know the import of Vedas, they say this. Paramartha darshinah. At the same time, they know Paramartha. Somebody might know Veda, but only the Purvamimamsa part. What will that person say? Not Dve Vidya, Ekam Vidya. There is one Vidya, which is Apara Vidya. That alone you should learn. That will take you to Swarga. What did Bhagavan Krishna call this speech as? Pushpitam Vacham. Yamimam Pushpitam Vacham. Who focus only on Apara Vidya. Apara Vidya will take us to Swarga. He says, just do that. What is the need to study? Paravidya. He says, no. They are Vedartha Abhijñāः. They have understood Vedas thoroughly, so they will say there are two types of knowledge which should be learned. What are those two types of knowledge? Ke itiyaha. What are those two types? Paracha, Paramatma Vidya. One is called as Para Vidya, which is knowledge of the self, Paramatma Vidya. And the second one is called as Apara Vidya. Higher knowledge is Para Vidya, lower knowledge is Apara Vidya. What is this Apara Vidya? He says, Dharma, Adharma. What is righteous? What is unrighteous? Sadhana. What is a means to get it? And Phala Vishaya. What is the result to get it? He says that knowledge is called as Apara Vidya. It is said during Lord Buddha's time, even the mantras which were there, Veda mantras which were there, they started getting used for erroneous reasons. The mantras can be used for greater good also. It can be used for something erroneous also. In our Puranas also we see a lot of Rakshasas. They use so much of mantra power to do so much of chaos. He says if you understand the meaning of Apara Vidya, it is not only sadhana and phala. It includes dharma, adharma also. How that mantra should be used for greater good, for larger peace. He says that knowledge is ingrained in this Apara Vidya. That's why we took example of computer science or some other engineering. Sadhana knowledge is there, phala knowledge is there. But it should also include knowledge of dharma and adharma. How to use it in the right way and how it should not be used. Nanu kasmin. Now the Purva Paksha. This says, what was the question asked? Kasminnu bhago vijnate sarvamidam vijnatam bhavati iti. So this was the question, right? Nanu, I have a Purva Paksha, he says. Kasmin vidite sarvavid bhavati iti Shaunakena prushtam. Shaunak Maharishi asked, knowing what, everything becomes known. Tasmin vaktavye. That answer should be given. What he has asked, that answer should be given. Aprushtam aha Angira. Angira Rishi is starting to describe something which was not asked to him. Did Shaunak Maharishi ask, is there something called as Apara Vidya, something called as Para Vidya? No. Why is he describing all that which was not asked? Dve vidye veditavya ityadi. It's a naisha dosha. There is no defect in this. Krama apekshatvat prativachanasya. Whenever Purva Paksha is answered, whenever teaching is given to a student, there is a krama, there is a sequence. First, Purva Paksha is answered, then Siddhanta is established. First, what is the opposing view, that is pointed out. Then what is your view, that is pointed out. This rule they followed even in debate. When they say there is some vada going on. So if there are two people from two school of thoughts, person A has to first state what is person B's school of thought to his satisfaction. So the person B knows what he is refuting is, first of all, my school of thought that I agree with. So that is vada. So here also he says there is a krama. When teaching is given, first Purva Paksha is pointed out, then Uttara Paksha. Aparahi Vidya Avidya. This was the line. Huh? What is termed here as Apara Vidya, he says that Apara Vidya is nothing but Avidya. Sa nirakartavya. That has to be transcended. Not getting stuck with Apara Vidya. We have to understand the limitations of Apara Vidya and transcend to Paravidya. What are the points we had seen? Why is Apara Vidya Avidya? The Vishaya of Apara Vidya is Mithya Vastu. The subject matter of Apara Vidya is Mithya Vastu. That is why it is Avidya. And second is, it doesn't remove Ahankara. In fact, if it is not done carefully, that ahankara can grow more through Apara Vidya. So second reason is that because of which he says Apara Vidya is Avidya. Tad vishaye hi vidite na kinchit tatvatah viditam syaditi. Bhagavan is pouring his heart out. He says, if you understand Apara Vidya, really we have not understood anything. How will you understand this line? True fulfillment or contentment cannot come by understanding Apara Vidya. That musician's example you remember. He says, I got the true purport of that music only when it was looked through the lens of Brahma Vidya. So any Apara Vidya, if it is looked at or studied, or we live our life only at that level, this is really speaking, we have not understood what is true fulfillment. And the beauty is, discontentment will be seen. Bhagwan has made this creation in such a way that you take any vidya, any karma. The biggest dosha, biggest limitation there is, at some point we will feel discontent. But this Brahma Vidya should give us the strength of asking ourselves, where is true contentment going to come from? If we still expect it to come from Apara Vidya, he says then we would not fully understood what is the nature of this Apara Vidya. Contentment will come when mind is quietened. One level of contentment comes from that. That's why even in Apara Vidya, if mind gets quietened, it gives a lot of joy. If some musician is there, and in that music, if he is able to hit the right swara, mind becomes quiet in that swara, that Vidya gives a lot of joy. But let us say some competition comes with the neighboring singer. That same swara will give agitation. So one level of contentment is at mind level. Where mind becomes quiet, that gives contentment. But he says even that is not long lasting. True contentment comes when we negate our jivatva. When sincerely this knowledge takes place, unshaken knowledge that I am not this ahankara, not this jiva. He says that is true contentment. And Apara Vidya will not remove this jivatva. So no matter what we learn, it is all of that is not really knowing anything. Tad vishaye hi vidite na kinchit tatvatah viditam syatiti. Nirakritya hi purvapaksham paschat siddhantah vaktavya. So to remove this Apara Vidya or to transcend it, to know what we should go beyond, not having erroneous notion that if I study Apara Vidya, somehow I will get liberation, somehow I will get fulfillment. To remove that, first Apara Vidya is described. After that, Siddhanta will be described. Paschat Siddhantah Vaktavyah Bhavati iti Nyayat. First Purvapaksha, then Siddhanta. Next mantra is one of the few places where we will get to see Apara Vidya in detail. Okay, so we'll spend sufficient time, but maybe not today. I don't want to start it and just end it halfway. This Saturday, we will not have class. Bhagavad Gita chapter 12 class will not be there. Balvihar classes are not there. Tuesday morning, Mundakopanishad class is also not there. So I'm traveling. I'll be back midday. So morning class I won't be able to take. Sanskritam class onwards we will start Tuesday evening. Ramcharitmanas class is there next week. And next week, Thursday morning is also there. Okay, this Saturday is not there. No Balvihar classes. Tuesday morning class is also not there. If there are any questions, you can type it. We have a few more minutes. I could not follow the point that there is no relation between Karya and Karana. If everything is enlivened by Karana, isn't everything appearing because there is a cause? Like no snake can appear if there was no snake if there was no rope in the first place. Don't change small words. It confuses the whole question. That is true. The only relationship which is there between consciousness and the world is that of adhisthana and adhyastha. Adhisthana means substratum, adhyastha means superimposed. But because that superimposed is mithya vastu, you cannot really call it a relationship. See, Advaita means mithyata will keep coming all the way till the end. The falsity of whatever is seen, they will keep hammering it until it becomes our thought process, knowing that this thought is also mithya. But the question was, isn't there a relationship between substratum and superimposed? Yes and no. Only when substratum is there, superimposed can be even seen. But because that superimposed is mithya vastu, it is only an appearance. You cannot really call it as relation. Mirage water and sunray. Mirage water appears in sunray, but there is no relationship as such because there is no water in the first place. It's only an appearance. That's why you see in Vedanta, whenever examples are taken, there will be these examples where one is real, another is unreal. To show Advaita, if you want to show some other point, illustrate some other point, you can use some other example. Like if you want to say consciousness is not constrained, you can use example of space. Just like space is not limited, consciousness is not limited by one conditioning. But when you want to show Advaita, then these examples of Satta Bheda will be used. Okay. Knowledge of Vedas come under Para Vidya. No, wait until the next mantra. There is a difference between knowledge and word. Shabda Rashi, the words which are there, they fall under Apara Vidya. Just the Shabda. The knowledge of Mahavakya, which reveals nature of Brahman, it says that knowledge is Paravidya. So Ishavasya Upanishad, if I do Parayanam, chanting, that is Aparavidya. But if I contemplate upon the verse meaning and understand I am that Isha who is Sarvavyapi, Ishavasya Medagam Sarvam, then that is called as Paravidya. Where did that Paravidya come from? Same Upanishad. But if I focus on word, that becomes Aparavidya. If I focus on meaning, that becomes Paravidya. That will be said in the next mantra. What are the benefits of Apara Vidya? It makes you wake up early in the morning. It helps in Sadhana Chatushtaya. Any class you take is early morning, it seems. Good. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo